Amanda, thank you very much, Komisan Togozo, and thank you very much to our program director today, Fighter Linda Sibia. We really appreciate the very excellent facilitation of this dialogue and deliberations. I'm sure the majority of us were able to express our views much more clearly and cogently, also due to that facilitation. The Secretary General of the Economic Liberation Movement, former National Chairperson Komisan Dokozo, the members of Parliament, Eugene and Ringo, who are at the forefront of all the issues that we're dealing with in the creative industry, and the two legislations which the president of the Cultural and Creative Industries Federation of South Africa spoke about in terms of the issues. And of course, we acknowledge the president of the Binga Nation, Ngizwe. He's a very close friend of ours. We constantly interact. We meet very frequently whenever we are in the province, because the organization had requested that we come to coordinate elections here. The former Secretary General of the South African Students Congress, Makasela Mzobe. So SASCO used to be alive when he was there, but now the student commander has eroded it everywhere, has defeated it. When Makasela was SG, was presence, and we worked together in the Tula House that time, because we're in the youth league. We were working in the same floor. And during his term of SASCO, there was never a campus which was contestation between SASCO and ANC Youth League, because we worked together that time. But now we've got only one student organization in South Africa, the EFF Students Command. That is really. And I also want to acknowledge the Chief Executive Officer of the Ocean Small here. It's one of the major developments, Brian Mpono, who has been very useful in terms of giving us the necessary support, not financial, support for this event to be very successful. Because if it was a financial support, we would be expected to declare it elsewhere in terms of what is required. The leadership of the province and of the region, the regional chair is Themba Mvumbu, is also the chair of the Human Settlement and Infrastructure Committee in the city of eThekwini, which is responsible for a variety of government functions. And we're 100% sure that when we go to the festive season, the department will have resolved the problems that eThekwini had last year of the sewerage that was going into the ocean. So under his leadership, we are far much more convinced that that problem would have been handled much more successfully. We have listened to all of you and we have heard you properly. We are not pretending to be listening to you, we are listening to you. Genuinely and intimately listening to all the inputs that we have made in terms of what should be done in the creative and cultural industry and in the sporting sector as well. There are two things that have happened here in the province in the recent past which I think are a cause for concern somehow for the creative industry. Because the manner in which resources are being allocated in the name of supporting sports development, in the name of supporting the creative industry, is now bordering on abuse of resources. One is this 28 million which the department which the provincial chairperson of the ANC is leading here in the province is giving to host the South African Music Awards. We know that it doesn't cost 28 million to host the South African Music Awards. It doesn't, it can't. There's no way you can have 28 million rands. And there's not even a clear program of how do we empower grassroots artists and up and coming artists in the industry. Like, of course, we should celebrate the artists that are doing well, but 28 million rand is just far above that. And we know this because what the organizers of the South African Music Awards presented as a budget for the hosting of awards, it's far much lesser than what is being given now. Because they had made that presentation to the city of Ekurhuleni. And then they said that even if we can have 5 million, we can have a very decent event. But here in KwaZulu-Natal, 28 million has been given to host the South African Music Awards. The second thing which has happened, like we hosted here in eThekwini, there was a hosting of the MTN 8 final. So you saw the premier of Gauteng was saying publicly that Gauteng lost the bid to host the MTN 8 final of Pirates and Sundowns. And then KwaZulu-Natal won that bid, and part of how they won that bid was to give Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates 5 million rand each. How do you donate 5 million rand to Sundowns? Man. Look how. And how do you give money to MTN? How do you take money of government? Makasela is correct that why can't we redirect that resource to host these tournaments in Newcastle, and although Newcastle United will not win, which he owns, why can't we then dedicate all these resources where they matter the most? But all these things are happening. They actually give reasons to why the EFF had to exist. As a weapon in the hands of black people. As a vehicle that is going to bring about real transformation, real change to the lives of our people, which is going to be a true representative of our people. That is why we exist, because we know that these ones who have got political power now, they are misusing the political power in a way that is totally unacceptable, in a way that undermines all of us. There are so many issues that can be handled and dealt with differently. We have heard you. We are not paragons of political correctness. We are not paragons of political virtue. We do not know everything. We have to be grounded and be based on what are the people who are in the sector saying. So I see the president of SIFSA has got a lot of notes. We must get those notes. We must put that in the manifesto of the EFF. By the way, even before we finalize the manifesto of the EFF, once we have captured all the inputs from the industry, before we go and launch the manifesto, we will send you the draft to say that does this section on the creative industry, on arts, culture and recreation, on sports, does it capture your aspirations? So this is truly a people's manifesto. We are not going to sit somewhere and try to come with solutions for you. The solutions must come from yourselves. And then will be expressed through the... So we have heard all the issues, very brilliant inputs. One of the inputs to say that why can't we mainstream music in all the schools in the same way there's an attempt to mainstream sports as well. That majority of us as black people, we never ever come across musical instruments. No way, we see them on television. And that has to be handled differently. The facilities must be provided. We should emulate spaces and countries that get to invest in their creative industry. And South Africa has got a lot of talent, by the way. Yes. Like, whether it's in music and in sports and in the entire creative industry, we've got tremendous talent which can get to appeal to the global audience. But we need a government that is going to provide that strategic and support to all the people in the creative industry. And of course, even start to think as what do we do with this artificial intelligence the sister spoke about there? Because there will be an attempt to replace not only workers in the creative industry, but in almost all other sectors through instruments that are going to be dependent on artificial intelligence. But we truly have heard you because we are not pretending to be listening to you. We are listening to you. And we are going to integrate all the issues that came from all of you. And I like that the all sectors were represented. Even the Film Federation was here, made clear inputs as to just what do we do out of all these issues. And I agree that we must not just focus on the arts and culture question just when we are government only. We must do work as the organization. You know, the current deputy president of the ANC, who's the deputy president of the country, was once a minister of arts and culture. And then he said one day that they're undermining me. How did they take me to that department? First, there's no regard for it. And then he says that, do you know, to show that not only me, but everyone else doesn't take care of the industry. In the ANC, he says that there's never been a single time where a minister of arts and culture speaks to present any perspective in cabinet. So there's never been, the others can talk, no, brief us on electricity, give us a brief on education, give us a brief on health, give us a brief on all these other sectors. But there's never been a time, a single time, where they say that can we be appraised of what is the arts and culture approach of South Africa? How do we support the industry? That is why the sector is so radically neglected. And that is what we are going to change as the EFF. So here in KwaZulu-Natal, be rest assured that when we go to 2024, we're going to form part of government of this province as the EFF. We've listened, we're in the process of building up a machinery that is going to win elections in this province. So from time to time, we interact with all the structures of the EFF here in Tekwini, in Utukela, in Mngungundlovu, in the Rigwala region, in Zululand, in Mkanyakude. So there was no place we have not been to. In Mhlabalingana, Jozini, in Big Five Hlabis, in Mtubatuba, in King Tetwaye, in all the municipalities, in Mtwanjaneni, in Nkandla, in Edumbe, in all the municipalities, in Mapumula, in Ilembe, everywhere. We are here existing as the organization, and we intimately are dealing with all the issues that are confronting our people. The EFF is nothing but an instrument for total liberation. It's not an organization of its leaders, it's an organization of the people. It's an organization that we use to fight for our total liberation. And that is why we call all of you to say that here is your organization. Let us fight for our own emancipation. We are definitely going to displace, and it's long overdue, the directionless and incompetent bunch of people that are leading this country today. We're going to decisively take political power and bring about economic freedom for all of us. Amandla, thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to all the people who helped with organizing Danger and Bunu. They did a brilliant job in terms of coordinating this. Commissioner Togozo, Linda, they did a brilliant job. And they've got something which they are going to speak about, which is going to take place later on. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Bunu and Danger. As many show, Bunu, Danger, guys, come on. I know what is the industry creative ringo. Gong gong gong. Molwen. Gushan. One jig. Ushan a cappella. Guys, the show, but the show, gong. He's a show. Take this yours. She's up, but yeah.
Nobunga gananina, noba wenzan, ndiyakuhlonipha, awuhlonipha yo. Hey, bathasthandani, ewe uyazi, komntu ngcono, hey, bayasixabanisa, ay. Jalo, hey, are you feeling now? Uyazi batini na, oh, but you listen la, but him nantandu kulwa. Bona unga maridiva, dingazo bachiri, aringa funani, gauri aritoni pani, iyo, nkonkonko, molwen, kunjani yo, ngoba, bangatini na, uzongoba maxesha onke nkonkonko molweni kunjani yo ngoba mangathini naye yeah.